But we speak the wisdom of Yahawah in a mystery. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahawah B'Hashem Yahawashi B'Hashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, but we speak the mystery of Yahawah. We speak the wisdom of Yahawah in a mystery. And pretty much this is a lesson inspired by a little bit of reading I was doing from last night till this morning. And I was reading a little bit of the book of Matthew, and then went to sleep, and then when I got up this morning, I also did a little more reading in it, and this came to mind as a lesson from last night till today, and pretty much is going into the parables, of the scriptures, the parables of Yahawashi. Now, parables are pretty much somewhat like riddles, stories using different symbolisms to reflect other images, so to speak. In other words, using symbols to convey a short story of, let's say, the kingdom of heaven or wicked rulers, things of that nature. And the reason why the parables were used was because Yahawashi, which came to do the will of the Father, only came to speak directly to those that were to receive salvation, which the ones that would receive the message of Yahawah B'Hashem Yahawashi would be the ones to receive the salvation. And not all Israelites will receive this message in this time. But all Israel will be saved in the kingdom of heaven. There won't be any Israelites burning in hell. There is no such place as hell. The lake of fire is America being totally engulfed in flames, and other parts of the world, the land of Israel, but the main part, or the main lake of fire, is America, Babylon the Great, which the Apostle John saw from the chariots. He saw a lake burning with fire. And that was America when it's destroyed by thermonuclear destruction and the lasers from the chariots. Because Yahawashi said, I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? So, dealing with these parables, not all Israelites are going to receive it, and the ones that don't receive it, they will be destroyed. But they will be in the kingdom of heaven. They will not be in no place that's going to burn forever, And you can't burn a spirit forever. A spirit is fire, So let's get into it. So parable definition, it says a simple story used to illustrate a moral or spiritual lesson as told by Yahawashi in the Gospels. Disregard this picture. This shit made me mad. I wanted to break the computer. Just looking at this fucking faggot, let me curve my words, or otherwise they might take this video down. It says, what does parable literally mean? It's a compound word. The word parable comes from the Greek parabole, literally throwing alongside. So why does it say throwing alongside? Para is alongside, and bole is to throw. To throw alongside, because they're using symbols to parallel, somebody's life or a particular storyline. All right, so those symbols that are being used in this parable represent something else. So the symbols are the parallels for that person or place or thing. All right, it says by extension, meaning comparison, illustration, analogy. And you could say it's like a riddle, A riddle is like a short story also, and there's uses symbolisms, as a puzzle in a puzzle form, or a fancy word is an enigmatic form. to convey a message, but not openly to everyone. And only the ones that have the mind to see it will be able to break down that riddle or that parable. It was a name given by Greek the rhetoricians. Those are the ones that speak rhetoric, which they pretty much just speak in circles, to an illustration in the form of a brief fictional narrative. All right, so let's go here. Let's start off here in 1 Corinthians 2:6. It says, "Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect." Now, what does it mean among them that are perfect? Meaning those that have their minds exercised to understand this truth. Meaning that their understanding has elevated to the point where they don't need anything else there to perfect that understanding. Just like when we go to the book of Hebrews, the 5th chapter, which a lot of these so-called leaders of today need to go back to the basics and pretty much learn all over again, because they're waxing worse and worse. And it's a shame. It's a crying shame, man, to see this, in these times. There's a saying, when you thought you seen it all, we really haven't seen it all, because all kind of shit's been going on. All kind of stuff has been happening and keeps popping up. But it's a sad sight to see how these individuals, are, distorting and perverting the gospel. It's a terrible thing to see. Hebrews 5:12, for when, and it's just basic, fundamental, foundational breakdowns, that were not taught, that the basic breakdowns were taught at the main school, and a lot of these things were not taught back then. But guys are just veering off, and you could see, I have to say it, keep the bishop's name out your mouth. Bishop Nathaniel has a super dark countenance. He looks evil. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. And I don't know why he's wearing his hair like that. Lord forgive me, but he started to remind me of like Jay-Z. Jay-Z got that crazy stuff in his hair. I'm not trying to snap on him or anything like that. I'm just stating the obvious. And that dude Jay-Z is a super high level demon, a high level witch. And I noticed that when them celebrities start going real deep into that Satanism, they start wearing their hair kind of crazy. So I'm not saying that's the case, but he has a super dark countenance. I'm talking about Bishop Nathaniel. It says, for the time you ought to be teachers, right? Because in order for you to be a teacher, you have to learn the milk scriptures first. You have to become like a newborn babe, as we read in the book of Isaiah 28, as we read in the book of 1 Peter 2, desire the sincere milk of the word, that you may grow thereby. And then once you come out of that baby stage, that you don't need the milk, you're going to go through a process of being nurtured, until you are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast. And now you can start to eat, on your own. But then eventually you come to the point where Yahawah is formed in you, and you no longer need someone to hold your hand and change your diapers and stick a bottle in your mouth every time you start, whang. You have need that one teach you again, see? That one teach you again, because the basic foundational fundamental scriptures are the key. And from that point, you move on from that point and you start to grow into a perfect man. Hebrews 6:1, therefore leaving the principles of the doctrine of Yahawah. That's why it says that right in the very next chapter after this is written. It says, therefore leaving the principles of the doctrine of Yahawah, let us go on unto what? Perfection. It says, not laying again the foundation of repentance from dead works and of faith towards the Most High. All right. So it says, for when the time you ought to be teachers, you have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High. Right. Going back to the basics. And are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat, because obviously you're still a baby. This is why the Apostle Paul had to curse the Corinthians out, because here it is, he invested all his time in them, but it's like they were still on that, Similac stage, For everyone that useth milk is what? Excuse me, is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe. It says, but strong meat, which is what? The deeper breakdowns of the scriptures, belongeth to them that are of full age, being able to maneuver through the spirit of Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Rachak Kodash, through the mysteries of the scriptures, So strong meat belongeth to them that are what? Of full age. What does it mean, of full age? It means they've gone through the process, through the discipline, through the disciplinary way of getting the proper understanding of the scriptures, for lack of better words. Okay, even those who by reason of use, because it's a habit, it's habit forming. And a habit, after a while, you might be a newbie, for lack of better words, but after constant use, you become a pro at it. This is why the Apostle Paul spoke about the profession, our profession. A profession or professor is a professional at what he does. So even those who by reason of use have their senses, because it begins in the mind, exercise. Why? Because it's been tried out to discern both good and evil. And that's why the next chapter says, leaving the principles of the doctrine of Yahawah shall let us go on unto perfection. That's why the Apostle Paul, once again, in 1 Corinthians 2:6, howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are what? Perfect. Perfect in what? Understanding. They've been through the milk stage. They've gone through puberty, adolescence, and all of these anymore. Yet not the wisdom that have gone to these colleges and are trained in these colleges, whether they're sincere or not, that, have learned, the world Christian. Yahawah B'Shem Yahushai is not dealing with a world Christian view. They get on us and say, you guys don't believe in a world Christian view. Yes, you're right. We do not believe or accept the world Christian view, because the world Christian view is off. It's off. It's off. The Lord ain't dealing with that. All right. It says, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. Right? Because this is not, what's the word I'm looking for? Corralled, by the princes of this world. This is not something that was given to the so-called wise of this world. They don't have the authority to dictate, what's the truth and what's not, because the truth is free. What they do is they box it in and they make you pay to get, some mumble jumble. But the truth of the Lord is free. Freely you have received, freely get. Nobody has to go to college to go and, and get all of that bullshit, useless knowledge. Let's see. The elder put up a scripture. Let me get a couple of these precepts that brothers put up. Ecclesiastes 37:17. The countenance is a sign of a changing of the heart. Beautiful. And where is it? There was a precept that the elder had put up. What happened to it? Put up Hebrews 2:1, and for some reason I don't see it over here. All right, for some reason there was a delay, but all right, so let's go. He said Hebrews 2:1. Therefore we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. Right, because those are the basic fundamental principles. There it goes. Guess there was a delay. All right. So it says, but here's the point. But we speak the wisdom of the Most High, what? In a mystery. Even the hidden wisdom which the Most High hath Most High ordained before the world unto our glory. All right, so we speak the wisdom of the Most High in a mystery. It says, which none of the princes of this world knew. Going back to the, Pharisees, Sadducees, and the rest of the sects, that were back then, religious sects that were back then. It says, for had they known it, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory, which is Yahawah. But it wasn't given to them. That's why the scriptures say, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Okay, so let's go from there to the book of Psalms, the 49th chapter. We're going to start at the first verse. We're going to read a couple of verses. This is Psalms 49:1. Hear this, all ye people. Give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world. Right, so this message pretty much is to the Israelites. The inhabitants of the world are talking about the Israelites, not talking about the whole entire planet. Both low and high, rich and poor together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be of understanding. Who is this speaking about? This is speaking about Yahawah. Because even when he was speaking to the masses of Israel in parables, he was speaking about wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. It says, I will incline mine ear to a what? To a parable. I will open my dark sayings upon the harp. So these parables or riddles were dark sayings that were being played as a melody, as a music. And majority of Jake back then and today couldn't get it. Let's go to Matthew 11. And 16, it says, but whereunto should I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets, right, in the agora. You see it happening today. It happened back then. It happened all throughout history, as long as the prophets have been around, since the beginning of the world. They've been out there in the marketplaces and calling unto their fellows. That's the prophets piping the song, singing the song and saying, we have piped unto you and you have not danced. We have mourned unto you and you have not lamented. So the song is going on, but only the ones that are part of the elect are able to sing along with the lyrics. You see? Because the rest of them, to them, it's just noise. Just like when you dealing with during the time of Yahawah and during the time of the Apostle Paul, when some people heard the voice of Yahawah and others heard thunderings and lightnings. And you better believe that the majority of people heard the thundering and the lightning, which is a representation of the word. Because the thunder is what? That's the Most High's voice. But you can't understand what thunder says. So that's like the mysteries of the scriptures. But to those that are part of the elect, they can understand or see it or hear it perfectly, clearly. So what the hell? What? Tell King David I'm ready. Ready for what? What are you talking about? Don't come in here with that bullshit, because you will get blocked. We ain't playing that bullshit today. Tell King David I'm here. Oh, Lord. Anyways, let's move on. So as I would incline my ear to a parable, I will open my dark sayings upon the harp. So let's go to this word parable. Mashal. It says Proverbs parable. It says byword, similitude, parable, poem. See? So it's a parable, a similitude. As we read over here, parabole, which means throwing alongside. All right? So the story represents something else. poem, right? Sentences of ethical wisdom, ethical maxims. So let's go from there. Let's go to let's move on. Let's go to Psalms, back to Psalms. Let's go to Psalm 78 this time. We're going to read a couple of verses from there. It says, give ear, verse 1, give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. So remember, these are the words of Yahawah, Yahawah Bashem Yahawah, because Yahawah comes in the volume of the book, right? I will utter dark sayings of old, because these are dark sayings, mysteries. They're not open to everyone. Only to the ones that are allowed to see, that have the eye salve. It says, which we have heard and known. See? So why have they heard and known? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. (34) and 17. Just go straight to the point. And he hath cast a lot for them, meaning the Lord, Yahawah Bashem Yahushai, cast a lot, or the portion, for who? Who's the them? The prophets. And his hand hath divided it unto them by line. Here a little, there a little. Some receive more, some receive less, but the ones that receive more are just as important as the ones that receive less, or vice versa. They shall what? Possess it forever. From generation to generation shall they dwell therein. So every time they came back, somehow, some way, they would fall into that lot. So going back to Psalm 78, I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known. Because some hear, but don't know, don't understand. Because there is a particular angel set up. When you go back to Isaiah 6, he's set up there to block, the true understanding of this knowledge to enter into the minds of Jake. Because this word is a healing ointment. And once it enters into the mind, through the ears into the mind, and you perceive the understanding, what happens? The healing process begins. But not all Israel is going to receive the healing process. Why? Because not all Israel is destined to be saved. That's why the Apostle Paul came back and said, for not all Israel is of Israel. Because you have the Israel of the Most High, which are the elect, and you have the Israel of Satan, pretty much, which are not a part of the elect. It says, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have what? Told us. And we've heard of these things over and over again every time we came on the earth, going all the way back to the beginning. All right? It says, we will not hide them from their children. Right. And this word is still being propagated. It's still a mystery to most. Showing to the generations to come the praises of Yahawah and his strength, which is what? Yahawah Bashem Yahushai, and his wonderful works that he had done. For he established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which lets you know that this is only dealing with the Israelites, nobody else. Which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, even the children which should be born, who should arise and declare them to their children, right? Because we're supposed to continue on the legacy. It says that they might set their hope in the Most High, Yahawah Bashem Yahushai, and not forget the works of the Most High. That's why we rehearse the righteous acts. We recount things, going all the way back to the beginning. Continuously tell these things over and over again. Some people get upset because it's repetition. But the Lord is very repetitive. Just read through the books of the law. And they tell, the Lord keeps speaking about the same thing over and over and over again. Why? Because we understand now that Jake is hard-headed. And if they're not kept on that straight and narrow, they're going to stray away. But keep his commandments, and might not be as their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that set not their heart aright. See, That's why the Lord said, circumcise, the foreskin of your heart, and whose spirit was not steadfast with the Most High. To be steadfast means to be sure, to be grounded, not to be moved. All right. And this understanding of the scriptures keeps us grounded. This is the pretty much the anchor of our soul. I'm not sure if that's Hebrews 6. Yep, Yahawah, Hebrews 6 and 19, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul. And if you have an anchor to the soul, which is this truth, the understanding of it and the keeping of it, you will be unmovable. Why? Because you were given the ability to establish your house upon a rock, which is Yahawah. And when the winds come and shake it and move it and try to break it, it won't be able to be broken because you are anchored in place. But you see others being made shipwreck because they're losing it. They're just out there at sea and the winds are busting it up. And you see the mast coming down and the sails coming down and the governor being broken up, and the bow and all, the ship is just coming apart. And they're just going on as if their ship is good, but their ship is sinking, and they don't even realize their ship is sinking. It says, both sure and steadfast, and which entereth into that within the veil. Because in the ancient world, you had the tabernacle, you had the Holy of Holies, and the high priest would enter into it, where you had the mercy seat, which is the Ark of the Covenant, the mercy seat, the cherubims, the manna, the Aaron's rod that budded, the tables of stone. And that's where the Most High once a year would appear, his presence would appear, to give repentance to the nation of Israel for that year, for their iniquities, for our iniquities, So that mercy seat right now is Yahawah. This is why after he passed, when they came to the sepulcher, they saw two angels, one at the head and one at the foot of where he was laying. Just like they did, they were facing each other just like they did as the cherubims at the Ark of the Covenant. And what was in the presence between it? The mercy seat, which that's where the Lord's presence would be. So now Yahawah is appearing in the presence of the Most High now for us. So he is the Ark of the Covenant. He is the mercy seat. He has entered into the veil. This is why when he was crucified, that earthquake rent the veil in the temple. See, they didn't really realize what that meant. That meant that Yahawah made a way now for us directly to the Father, Yahawah, which we didn't have before. I don't care how great the sacrifice was. There was no way the Lord was dealing with us until Yahawah came down and gave his life for us. It says, whither the forerunners for us entered, even Yahawah made an high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. So Psalm 78 and 8, and whose spirit was not steadfast with the Most High, because they were not able to continue on because they didn't build their foundation upon a stone, which is Yahawah, because it wasn't given to them. So now let's go from there. Let's go to Psalms, same book, Psalms, the 40th chapter. We're going to read a couple of verses in here. It says, I waited patiently for the Lord. This is verse 1. And he inclined unto me and heard my cry. Right. This is why we wait. Though it tarry, wait for it. He brought me up also out of an horrible pit, because this is where we're at. We're in a horrible pit right now, which is America, the valley of the shadow of death, out of the miry clay, and set my foot upon a rock. Right. So the Most High Yahawah set our foot upon a rock. So in this society, there's a lot of pitfalls, a lot of things that can destroy us. But every time we step, through the mercies and grace of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai, we're stepping, in this society through the names of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai. So every step, is calculated, perfect. It's like, just to give you a small illustration, those of you that have ever seen the video Billie Jean with Michael Jackson when he was stepping and those squares kept lighting up, you know. So that's pretty much the Lord is allowing us to step through this life and not fall into the pitfalls, because, you know, he has us in the name of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai through the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, and established my goings. See, so the Most High is the one that's establishing our goings, anchoring us in place. And we pray that we maintain to the end. And he hath put a new song in my mouth, see? And we're singing the new song. When you go to Revelation, I believe that's either 14 or 15, speaks about that new song in our mouths. Even praise unto our power. Why? Because through Yahushua we got the victory. That is the main part of the gospel, is the great sacrifice that Yahushua made for us to reconcile us and to reconcile the Israelite foreigners back to him. All right? It says, many shall see it and fear, but not all. See? And shall trust in the Lord Yahawah Bashem Yahushai. Because not everyone is going to be able to see or hear or understand or sing along with the new song. Blessed is that man that maketh the Lord Yahawah Bashem Yahushai his trust, and respecteth not the proud, nor such as turn aside to lies. And we seeing that happening, those that are given to change, turning aside to lies. Many, O Lord, my power, are thy wonderful works which thou hast done, and thy thoughts which are to usward. They cannot be reckoned up in order unto thee. If I would declare and speak of them, they are more than can be numbered. Yeah, we don't even know the half. We don't know the quarter. We don't know the, the many great, blessings that are waiting for us. So let's go from there. Let's go to Matthew 13. Because we read here that the Lord put a new song in his mouth, even praises unto our power. Many shall see it and fear and shall trust in the Lord, but not everyone is going to be able to see it. And this is illustrated very beautifully here in Matthew 13, beginning at the 9th verse. And, this is, I was watching Elder Apostle Gabar's video yesterday, and we've all said this. This is Elder Apostle Rakah's favorite scripture. It says, Matthew 13:9, who hath ears to hear, let him hear. And there's a reason why this is written this way. Because not everybody has ears upon their heads. It's not talking about your physical ears. It's talking about spiritual ears. So those that have ears to hear, let them hear. And the disciples came and said unto him, why speakest thou unto them, what? In parables. All right? Throwing alongside, similitudes and mysteries. He answered and said unto them, because it is given unto you to know what? The mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. These are mysteries, not revealed to all. A mystery is not revealed to everyone, only the choice ones from the Lord. It says, but to them it is not given. Let's look up this word mystery real quick. Mysteries should be mysterion. Yep, mysterion. Check that out. From a derivative of muo, to shut the mouth. Because a mystery is what? Something secretive. It says, hidden thing, secret, mystery. Generally, mysteries, religious secrets, confided only to the initiated and not to ordinary mortals. That's why certain things the men of the Lord would reveal to some and not to others. You had the prophet Ezra that was given instructions to reveal certain things to everyone, all of Israel, and certain things only to the elect and such as have understanding as he did. A hidden or secret thing not obvious to the understanding, so it has to be broken down to you. But if you don't have the ingredient of that eye salve, even if it's broken down to you, you're still not going to get it. So it's a spiritual, thing. So just bear with me 1 second. This is why Yahushua told the Apostle Peter, when he asked him who he was, he said, you are the anointed, the Son of the Most High. He said, blessed art thou, O Peter, for flesh and blood hath not revealed this unto thee, but the Spirit of my Father which is in heaven. That's a heavy statement right there. Salaki for a minute. All right. It says a hidden purpose or counsel, secret will of men, so on and so forth. It says of the Most High, the secret counsels which govern the Most High in dealing with the righteous, see, which are hidden from ungodly and wicked men, but plain to the godly. This is why it says we speak this wisdom among them that are perfect in understanding. All right, so let's go back. It says, but to them it is not given. So the mysteries are given to who? To the prophets, to the ones that were elected. Because Yahawah even prayed for the disciples, and not just for the disciples only, the 11, but also for those that would hear his words, his message through the disciples, which later became apostles. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given. Right, so those that have the Thawah, those that have the eye salve, they will receive it. And he shall have more abundance, because it's about what? Receiving this word and growing. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. See? So whatever someone has that don't belong to them, it's going to be taken from them. Therefore speak I to them in parables, because they see and see not, and hear and they hear not, neither do they understand. See? So this is why Yahawah eventually spoke he would break things down to his disciples. He would, break things down to the point where they said, now thou speakest to us plainly. Why? Because it was given to them. He just said it. He says, and in them, meaning the ones that are not to receive it, is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, by hearing you shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing you shall see, and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed. Why? Because the Most High closed their eyes. See, this goes way deeper. There's a scripture, I think it's in the Apocrypha. Things that are pleasing unto the Lord are revealed unto us. If a brother know where that's at, they could post that on a comment board. Least at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. And the healing part comes through what? Through the salvation, because once you're healed, you're sealed. And I wasn't trying to rhyme. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. See, because they are opened to the mysteries of Yahawah B'Shem Yahawah. All right. So it says, for verily I say unto you that many prophets, this is heavy right here. For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear, and have not heard them. So this is for anybody in the comment section. What does that mean? That many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear, and have not heard them. The brother put it up. Baruch 4:4. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known unto us. See? Beautiful. And he's given this mystery to his servants, the prophets, and those out there that are part of the ones that are going to be saved. The elder also put it up. So I'm gonna leave y'all, what does that mean here? That many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which you see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which you hear, and have not known them. All right, and then we're gonna move on from there. So Isaiah, let's go here to Isaiah 53:1. Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? See? Who hath believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? The report is of what? Of who? Of Yahawah. The arm is what? Of who? Yahawah. And that is the arm of the Lord. That is the report that Yahawah sent. So who is he revealed to? See, he's only revealed to those that were chosen from the beginning, the elect, and not everybody can see it. You have people, beautiful. Brother nailed it. Brothers nailed it. They desired to see the coming of Yah. Beautiful. Yep, they saw Yahawah, which was the very prophecy that was spoken of. They desired to see the coming of Yahawah. Beautiful. That's right. Let's see, the return of Yahawah. Yep, brothers both got it. Beautiful. Now, let's go before we read on anymore. Let's go to, I believe that's Second Peter, or is it First Peter? Let me try First Peter 1. I typed in Second Peter, but yeah, no, it's First Peter. First Peter 1. Verse 9, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls. Because salvation comes at the end of our faith. Hope that is seen is not hope. Of which salvation, what? The prophets have inquired and searched diligently, who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you, searching what, or what manner of time the Spirit of Yahawah, which was in them, did signify, when it testified beforehand the what? The sufferings of Yahawah, when Yahawah would come on the earth and suffer, and the glory that should follow. You see? So this in Matthew 13, where it speaks about to see the things and to hear those things which thou see and heard, and have not heard them, that's Yahawah coming on the scene. That's why in Isaiah 53 it said, who has believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? Because it's not revealed to everybody. All right. Let me read a couple of these oh man. It says Job 19:25, for I know that my Redeemer liveth, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. Beautiful. Let me see. Right, yeah, the brother said they desired to see the prophets of old. The prophet old didn't have complete understanding of visions, because if it was for time now, yep, it was for these times. Let's see, Ecclesiastes 3:19. Many other are in high places and of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek. That's why Yahawah said, blessed are you, Father, for you have hid this from the wise and prudent, and has revealed them unto babes. And the babes were who? The apostles, which were disciples at that time. St. John 1:7, the same come for a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. Beautiful. All right, so to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? So let's go from there to the book of Romans 11. And 7. It says, what then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election have obtained it, and the rest were what? Blinded. The election have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. Let's go to one more. St. John, chapter 12. We're going to read a few verses here. 31. It says, now is the judgment of this world, because it began back then, 2,000 years ago, the fall of the Roman Empire. And then they will come back into power and then fall again. Now we're at the very ending of their falling again. Now, we're at the point now of the perdition of the eighth horn, or the eighth head, should I say, the eighth head. Now, and the little horn in the book of Daniel 7. Now shall the prince of this world be cast out, meaning those that are in power and rulership. That's why in Revelation 12 and Revelation 19 and 2nd Ezra 13, it speaks about this great battle that's going to overthrow the pretty much the kings of this world. This is why Yahawah in Isaiah 63 is coming to what? To visit the Edomites. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments? So Yahawah goes on to say, and I, if I be lifted up from the earth, will draw all men unto me, meaning all the men of Israel. All right. And this is why we exalt Yahawah Bashem Yahushai to the highest. You know, this he says, signifying what death he should die. Right. And he's going to draw all men unto him, because all Israelite men will be able to come to the Father through him eventually. But right now, only the elect. It says, the people answered him, we have heard out of the law that the Messiah abideth forever. And how sayest thou that the Son of Man must be lifted up? Who is the Son of Man? Because they didn't understand. Why? Because it wasn't given to them to understand. Then Yahawah, because in the same book that they're quoting from, it also says that the Messiah, the Anointed One, had to go through a series of afflictions, a series of trials, you know, to be chastened with the stripes of men for our sakes. And there's many other precepts that go into the sufferings of Yahawah, but that was shut to their eyes. It says, then Yahawah said unto them, yet a little while is the light with you. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness come upon you. For he that walketh in darkness knoweth not whither he goeth. Right. So Yahawah was there. He was giving them the path. It says, while ye have light, believe in the light, that you may be the children of light. Right. Because we are the children of the light, as it says in 1 Thessalonians 5. These things spake Yahawah and departed, and did hide himself from them. And this is heavy, because every time I read this precept, it gives me the sense of Yahawah is plain to some, but to others they're not able to see him. That's why I said he hid himself from them. That's heavy, because in this time now, even now, to this very day, you have Israelites who can't see Yahawah. They can't see, you know, the great miracle that he did. They can't understand him. They can't understand his purpose, you know, his goal. You know, they're regurgitating things that they've heard from their pastors and preachers and all of that, but they don't really see who the Lord really is. But though he had done so many miracles before them, yet they believed not on him. Why? That the saying of Isaiah the prophets might be fulfilled, which he spake, Lord, who hath believed our report, which we just read it, and to whom hath the arm of the Lord been revealed? Therefore they could not believe, because that Isaiah said again, he had blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, that they should not see with their eyes, nor understand with their heart, and be converted, and I should heal them. These things said Isaiah when he saw his glory, and spake of him. Right, because the prophets, the elect, are going to see the glory of the Lord, you know, but the rest are not, you know, but eventually in the kingdom they will. So let's get into the parable in Matthew chapter 20. Try to go through this as quick as possible. Matthew 20:1. Laborers in the vineyard. That's dealing with doing the work, which we're doing the work. You gotta doing the work. You gotta be doing the work. Work. Yeah, well, that's all we've been pushing since we've been out there through the Spirit and power of Yahawah Bashem Yahushai. Since the Lord brought us into the vineyard, we've been pushing to labor, acting like we're not doing the work. Come on, man. Come on, son. All right. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. The householder is Yahawah. The laborers are the prophets, and the men that were sent out there to do the work. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, and a penny a day, you know what you heard Elder Apostle Tahar Salakia break it down, that was a day's wage. All right. He sent them into his vineyard. What is the vineyard? The vineyard is, let's go to Isaiah 5 real quick. And I love this chapter. Isaiah 5:7. For the vineyard of the Lord of hosts is the house of Israel, and the men of Judah his pleasant plant. And he looked for judgment, but behold, oppression, for righteousness, but behold, a cry. All right? So that's who the vineyard is, to teach Israel. And he went out, and this parable is a representation of the elect, the teachers, the prophets. This really has nothing to do, because there's other parables, it speaks about the 10 virgins, 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. Well, this is dealing with the ones that are a part of the teaching, the part of the laborers. All right. And he went out about the 3rd hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. So you could say, like, Elder Abba Bivens, King Masha, High Priest Ariah, High Priest Yahawah, they came in around the first hour or so. Well, actually, Elder Abba Bivens came in the first hour. And you could say, like High Priest Ariah and, what they call the 7, they came in like around the 3rd hour, and then, you have, after that, you have Elder Apostle Tahar and the rest of the men that came in that time back then during the 80s. It says, and said unto them, go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. So you had men that was already laboring for about 3 hours, and you had more men coming in. Other men have labored, and you have entered into their labors. Again, he sent out about the 6th and 9th hour. So that would represent, I'm just putting it into layman's terms, like a lot of brothers that came in during like the 90s, and did likewise. So they went into the vineyard, It says, in about the 11th hour, which would be what? I would liken this, not saying that this is exactly how it's broken down, but I would liken this to the YouTube era, because the 11th hour is like the very last hour before, the reward comes. And about the 11th hour, he went out and found others standing idle, and said unto them, why stand ye here all the day idle? Right? They say unto him, because no man hath hired us. Nobody gave us a job. It said, he saith unto them, so like I'm just thinking of some crazy stuff. He saith unto them, go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall you receive. All right. It says, so when even was come, meaning when the end of the work day was come, which we're coming into right now, the very ending of the work day, when it's time to punch the, time cards out and to receive the pay, because remember, when we read the law says what? That you're supposed to pay. If a man works for you, you're supposed to pay that man by the end of the day. So we're coming to the end of the work day, and the payment is about to be given, the reward. The Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward. The steward is the one that watches over, the vineyard, like an overseer. Steward. It says Epitropos, one whose care or honor anything has been instructed. See, a curator or guardian, a steward or manager of a household. So he is a steward or the manager of the household or of lands, overseer. See, one who has the care and tutelage of children, either where the father is dead, a guardian of minors, or where the father is still alive. Okay, so you get the point. Like an overseer to watch over the vineyard. Okay. So he says, so when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, call the laborers and give them their hire. So you could say the stewards would be like the angels that are coming to deliver, Israel. It says, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, meaning at the very end, they received every man a penny. So they received the same reward that the men that came in from the beginning would receive. It says, but when the first came, meaning the ones that have been laboring all day, they supposed that they should have received more. And they likewise received every man what? A penny. So they received the reward of the kingdom. But they thought that they would get more. It says, and when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, these last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us. No, yeah, but because they, pretty much the point is that we were hired to do a job. Don't matter when you came in or how long you've been doing the work, we're all been contracted to do a job. And we are going to receive the same reward. Doesn't matter how long or how short you've been doing the work. It says, which have borne the burden and heat of the day. Man, we're going to catch all kind of hell, man. You know, these brothers don't know what it was like, you know, but hey, that's just the way the Lord set it up. But he answered one of them and said, friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst thou not agree with me for a penny? Right, and that's the agreement. The 1 penny is what? That's the kingdom of heaven. It says, take that thine is, and go thy way. I will give unto the last, even as unto thee. Yeah, because we're all going to receive the reward of the kingdom of heaven. Now you're going to have levels, like, what is that? Psalms 122. It said there are set thrones, even the thrones of David. You know, so you're going to have, you know, different levels. That's why you got the governing body. You know, you have the 12 apostles. You know, you have the 144,000. You know, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. You know, so it's, you know, you got all of that. But then you also have the Israelites that are going to be in the kingdom. They're going to have high positions, but their positions are not going to be as high as the governmental body of Yahawah B'Shem Yahawashi. But the point is that the deliverance is the penny into the kingdom of heaven. And we're all going to receive the same penny if we endure to the end. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with mine own? Is thine eye evil because I am good? So the last shall be first and the first last. For many called, but few chosen. Right. Because there's going to be some that are going to fall by the wayside. You know, but there's going to be some that are going to be delivered. And this is why the Apostle Peter said, you know, give diligence to make thy calling and election sure. And Yahawah said, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. All right, so with that, you know, this has been, but we speak the wisdom of Yahawah in a mystery. All right, so with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.